It's John Pollock here alongside John Ramdeen and the returning Robin Black, who is just on a whirlwind tour of the United States. He is back. How's the U.S. doing?
They seem pretty good. Getting out of LAX was a bit of a dice roll.
Oh, that's right.
There were 4,000 protesters there as I was leaving. My wife is starting a U.S. tour for a musical, and I was thinking, man, it's a tough time to be traveling around in the States. But the people were friendly, and I had a really good time.
Yes, we'll save our political discussion for another chat. Let us discuss first Ronda Rousey, because whenever anyone says the name Ronda Rousey, it's suddenly a major topic of discussion because everyone is curious about what is next in her career. Dana White was on the UFC Unfiltered podcast, and let's not put all of our stock in what Dana White says, but
zero stock.
You very well could.
Yep.
I mean, this could mean the complete opposite.
Yep.
But his words to Matt Serra and Jim Norton was that he talked to Ronda Rousey, and if he had to say, he would say that she's probably not going to fight again. So I don't know what stock you put into that, if any. Do you believe that?
You're right. We should either believe that Ronda Rousey's not going to fight again or she's going to fight again. It is simple as that.
Those are two options.
Exactly.
That's one of those will definitely
That's what's going to happen. That's why I think this is dumb. We should wait for Ronda Rousey to make an announcement. She's a fighter. We've seen it before. We've seen many fighters deal with some adversity inside of the cage and say, you know what? I'm calling it a day because of all the haters, because of all the media, because of what. And Ronda Rousey is the perfect example of that at the highest level. She just needs to get herself away from the game, and if she's ready to come back to mixed martial arts, she'll come back to mixed martial arts. This is what she's born to do, and again...
We've seen enough examples, John.
Exactly.
BJ Penn being a great example. Yep. After the Nick Diaz fight, after Frankie Edgar, it was, I'm done, and then suddenly time elapses, and suddenly... you get that competitive edge. You get that spirit again to want to get back into the gym. And Ronda Rousey, she turns 30 years old today, maybe 6 months removed, where people's expectations of her returning are not there.
Or 2 weeks, who knows? Who knows what it is? It comes down to the individual. Luckily for Ronda, she has made more money than most people in this entire game. And it's one of the things that I talk about when we're talking about Conor McGregor. You know, everybody's like, oh, he's all about the money. I had a chance to talk to John Kavanagh before the Chad Mendes fight, before Conor McGregor became the global star. And just like anything, if you are a martial artist at heart, if you started in martial arts, if you were a kid as a martial artist, and the goal is, I want to keep this going. Conor McGregor, the reason why he captured all the money and captured the attention is so that he could live as a martial artist. And that's what he gets to do forever. If he decides to walk away from this game, he gets to travel the world. Every martial arts academy in the world will open their doors to Conor McGregor, just like Ronda Rousey.
Just like George.
Just like George. So it's up to Ronda. If she wants to fight, I have a feeling she'll probably want to fight. It's just all these haters seem to affect everybody, and that's the saddest part about it.
Happy birthday, Ronda. Sincerely, happy birthday. And I hope you do whatever you want. One of the things I did last week was do a piece with Travis Brown.
Oh, yeah.
And Travis Brown's a really sweet guy, man. He's a very smart guy, understands himself, understands life. I didn't ask him about his personal relationship with Ronda or anybody else. That was none of my business. But I talked to him about fighting, and an undertone of something that people at this level feel is all of that judgment and all of the hate and all of those things. You try not to, and he's smart enough to not, but there's times where a guy, how could you not going through the world the way they go through the world? And he did mention at one point, he's like, hey, the media and the way that the world works is they take something that's just a passing thing and then treat it as truth and then talk about it as truth. He said he trains with Ricky Lundell and Edmund Tarverdian, and those are his coaches, and what people think of that and what people see, that's irrelevant. But he's not at Black House, even though it popped up on Instagram, and he's not training at some other place. He's training with his longtime coaches who he believes in, and he actually has the up close evidence and information about the job that they do. The rest of us, well, it's obvious that things aren't obvious because you see 15 minutes of something or you hear 20 seconds of tape. These people have all the information. Travis Brown, Ronda Rousey, they have all the information. You might think it would be great to be these people. Wouldn't it be great to be rich and famous? These days it doesn't look like it really would.
It's unfortunate that so many of these fighters, because it's a pattern of where you see fighters get to a certain level where that interest level, that spotlight is so amplified, and you get dramatic responses like Ronda Rousey not wanting to speak to media anymore. Conor McGregor wanting to reduce his media schedule. I mean, that is George St. Pierre. I mean, you speak to that guy now, he is the most engaging interview you're going to speak with at this point in time. But back when he was doing his fights, fight week, dreadful.
Yeah.
Because he was just being asked things over and over. And to me, that's as much a part of the game now. Not to say it's on the same level of preparation and training, but that's a big part of it, is being able to take that spotlight and deal with it in a manageable way. And if it's trying to distance yourself from being online and reading all these comments about yourself, you have to be able to perform at this level and be able to take that, because this is a sport now that's being viewed by so many people that you're going to receive tons of criticism, and dealing with that is an obstacle.
Yeah, the best approach, in my opinion, that I've seen in all of combat sports is Brock Lesnar. The guy's the biggest star in the game. There's a lineup of people ready to talk to Brock Lesnar, and he just gives them the finger. I know you guys need to talk to me. I don't need to talk to you. I'm massive. I pick people up and smash them on the ground, say my buzzwords at the end of the fight, and people continue to want to talk to me. That's the luxury Ronda has, and that's the luxury that Conor McGregor has. They're so big that they don't need to address the media, or they can reduce the amount of time they're spending.
It's funny because Conor is the guy that, I mean, he appears to like follow everything. He seems to be up on whatever anyone is talking about, and he just takes it in stride. Doesn't seem to be taken apart from it as a result.
Well, yeah, you just have to look into what it actually means. If somebody came up to your face and said a horrible thing, that would feel weird. But if tens of thousands of people are expressing their own their own feelings about life in a moment, so looking at something, and in that moment they hate Travis Brown, or they hate John Ramdeen, or they think Robin Black's hair is stupid. If they do those things in that moment, they go about their life later. They don't really hate you. They shouldn't have any emotional attachment to Conor McGregor, a figure they see on television. So once you realize that's not an actual interaction with a person, you can dispel it. But people who fall underneath the pain of that kind of thing, it is a strange phenomenon, and it's a real phenomenon that's never existed before in human history. The fact that you are studied constantly, and it will affect and change people. It does it.
Last question on this, and again, it's hypotheticals at this point, but if you were around Ronda Rousey, seeing the fight she just had with Amanda Nunes, and she was interested, let's just go ahead with that step, that she is interested in fighting again, is it valuable to have that long layoff again, and maybe you retool some things, or just get right back in there? Don't have this long period like she did after the Holly Holm fight, where expectations are high, the pressure mounts. I mean, there's positives to both, I would feel.
Yeah, it's the balance, and Robin pointed it out before. A lot of fighters that lose, that say, "Oh, let me get right back in there." That's always
sometimes that can be good, sometimes that can be bad.
It depends on the individual, I would imagine. What is that perfect length of time where you're not off for so long, but at the same time you still have that hunger to compete?
You got to go with evidence, and you got to go with whatever truths you can discern. And the truth is, Ronda was undeniably the best, and everybody else was here. And in that time, they got here, and that has to be addressed. It can be addressed easily. She can go in there and study the things and make the adaptations to the way that the game has changed. She can do it. That does take time.
But the truths are, again, I don't know if this is the truth or not, but if you say that Ronda Rousey was so far ahead of everybody, now everybody's gained ground, can she get that much better? Or is there a point where she's like, you know what, I'm just as good as everybody else. Let me be a prize fighter. I'm going to do my best to get a win. She's going to do her best to get a win over me.
If she's doing that for fun, sure.
Yeah.
If she's doing that for money, she'll make more money in other ways. But she was way ahead of the entire game because she had a distinct advantage. Once she got to a range, she finished you. And she could always get to that range because her ability to take away space was better than the average and above average and top of the game's ability to maintain space. So the game changed. The martial arts are about penalizing facts. If I hit you and you turn your back, that means I have to learn to choke, because that will happen. That's a natural human reaction. And the reaction to somebody coming at you and getting you and ripping you apart or tearing your arm off is maintain that space. So the game itself mutated to be able to maintain that space. Ronda Rousey, just like the game and all of these players within the game, Ronda Rousey can learn that skill too. She can develop that skill. She works harder, she's smarter, she's more driven than 99% of people walking the earth.
So she can be like Khabib and Damian Maia in their their weight divisions.
She can go. If somebody else could learn to do X, Y, and Z, Ronda Rousey has proven over time that she can learn to do X, Y, and Z as well or better than anybody else can.
So until Ronda Rousey speaks publicly, we will await what her future is in mixed martial arts.